I wanted to surprise her. I just finished an undercover mission and got home early, but when I opened the door, I saw a man lounging on my sofa. "Who are you looking for, buddy?" he asked, acting like he owned the place. My first thought was that the house had been robbed. That was until my wife appeared wrapped in a towel. "Ethan, you're back already?" Melissa stuttered. He's just a friend. He came to ask for a loan. Don't think the worst." "Do you really think I'm that much of a sucker?" I replied, stone-faced. "Man, your woman is so hot." The guy sneered. "She's a real beauty in bed." I didn't say a word. I just calmly took off my coat, revealing my navy blue police uniform underneath. Routine inspection. "Let me see some ID. Also, your recent actions constitute breaking and entering and the intentional provocation of a public servant." Looking at his face, which went pale instantly, and Melissa's shocked expression, I knew the game was over. "Go get dressed," I ordered. My voice wasn't loud, but it commanded authority. Arthur grabbed his shirt off the sofa with stiff movements. Melissa, my wife of 3 years, finally snapped out of it and ran toward me, trying to hug me. "Ethan, listen to me. Let me explain. It's not what you think. You don't want to make a scene in public, do you?" I backed away, refusing to let her touch me. I gave her a single look that froze her in her tracks. She had never seen me like this. Arthur was escorted out by 2 backup officers who had just arrived. As he passed Melissa, he tried to play it cool. "Mel, don't worry. He won't dare do anything to me." Melissa just stared into space, trembling, unable to utter a single word as they took him away. In the back of the patrol car, Arthur's rich air arrogance returned. "I'm warning you. My father owns the Miller Group. You're abusing your power. I'm going to hire the best lawyer and sue your ass." My partner, Officer Lee, looked at me through the rearview mirror. I ignored him and just hit play on my phone. "Man, your woman is so hot. She's a beauty in bed." Arthur's provocative voice echoed in the cabin. The blood drained from his face instantly. We reached the interrogation room. I told Lee to give us the room. "Lee, leave this to me." After he closed the door, I turned off the security camera and placed a recorder on the table. Arthur watched my every move, breaking into a cold sweat. "What are you doing? Torture is illegal." I didn't sit down. I stood over him, looking down. "Arthur Miller, 28, Vice President of the Miller. Father, Mr. Miller. Mother, Mrs. Miller. License plate, Gin 888. With every detail I spat out, he turned paler. I'd already run his background with my team. "What do you want?" he stuttered. "I don't want anything. I'm just curious. How does a VP of a major group find time to come to my house to borrow money from my wife?" "I told you, it was a loan. Melissa and I didn't do anything. I didn't ask if you did anything." Did she really say I'm like a refrigerator that can't satisfy her? My tone was calm, not a hint of rage, but every word cracked his defense. He started shaking. I pushed the recorder toward him. "Whether you talk or not doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm reporting today's events to my superiors. Spoiled rich kid breaking into a private residence and provoking the police. Guess how much your father will have to spend to protect you? Guess if my colleagues at the IRS would be interested in auditing the Miller Group." That was the breaking point. He collapsed. For the next half hour, he spilled everything. He told me how they met at a club, how he flashed his wealth, and how Melissa complained I was bad in bed. "She said you're just a common cop. A month's salary is pocket change. She said it takes you 6 months just to buy her 1 bag." He confessed, hesitating. I listened without expression, though my knuckles were white from gripping the table. My phone vibrated nonstop in my pocket. It was her. I turned it off. Messages popped up on WhatsApp. "Ethan, I messed up. Come home. Arthur seduced me. I was confused. Our 3 years can't end like this." I deleted them all. I took the signed deposition and opened the door. Since the evidence for breaking and entering was technically insufficient to hold him, I gave him a verbal warning and told him to beat it. Lee was surprised, but followed through. Arthur practically crawled out of there, thinking he'd escape. He had no idea the game was just beginning. I got home at dawn. When I opened the door, the strong scent of perfume hit me. The living room light was a warm, ambiguous yellow. Melissa was on her knees, her makeup perfect, wet hair draped over her shoulders. "Ethan, you're back. I missed you so much." Her tears fell in heavy drops. "I want to make love to you. Please. Let's fix this. He and I didn't do anything." "Arthur had just taken his clothes off when you arrived. Ethan, do you trust me?" She tried to unbutton my shirt skillfully. It only made me feel sick. I pushed her away with my foot, not with force, but with pure contempt. She froze, incredulous. "Ethan?" I threw the recorder on the table and hit play. "She said you're just a common cop. 1 month's salary is dead weight. To buy a bag takes half a year, not to mention he's bad in bed." Melissa's crying stopped instantly. The color vanished from her face as she began to shake uncontrollably. I knelt in front of her and grabbed her chin, forcing her to look at me. You weren't confused. You lied about me, and you betrayed me for fun. I pulled a paper from my pocket and showed it to her. I printed the divorce papers. I brushed the paper against her face, leaving a light red mark. Melissa finally broke down. Ethan, how can you treat me like this? She screamed, her voice distorted. We've been married for 3 years. You're going to leave me with nothing just because of this? I only made a mistake any woman would make. Why can't you forgive me just this once? I looked at her face, twisted in anguish, and let out a cold laugh. I learned from the best. That sentence was the final blow. She collapsed on the floor, her screams turning into convulsive sobbing. I messed up. My love, give me one more chance. I stopped paying attention to her screams. I turned toward my office and said calmly, I bought this apartment in cash before we got married. It's in my parents' name. The car was a reward I bought with my own blood and sweat. It's in my name. Your bags, jewelry, and clothes. You can take them all. Oh, and you have $200,000 in your account. That's what I transferred to you over the last 3 years. Don't forget to pay me back. I paused for a second. If you don't sign, that's fine. This recording will be sent to your parents, your coworkers, and every single one of your friends by tomorrow morning. Your choice. I closed the door and leaned against it. I slid down to the cold floor. A wave of exhaustion hit me. 3 years of marriage trashed like a joke. The woman who was my world was the one who shattered my heart. I closed my eyes. When I opened them, all that remained was a deep, cold void. Midnight. This was just the beginning. The next morning, as soon as I got to the station, I was called into Captain Miller's office. He looked grim. He pushed a document toward me. Take a look at this. An anonymous tip. The letter was full of exaggerations, painting me as a violent cop who abused his power. It claimed that, out of jealousy, I had tortured and coerced an innocent civilian. Personal behavior that proof weighed heavy against her. The judge slammed the gavel down, sealing Melissa's fate. I stood up, and the courtroom fell silent. I simply said to the judge, "I ask the court to grant all my petitions. I want no further connection to this person." With that, I walked out. The judge finally pronounced the sentence. Defendant Melissa, grave misconduct has been proven. Divorce granted. The defendant has no right to marital assets. Final decision, Melissa must vacate the premises immediately. Leaving the courthouse, the sun felt perfect. It felt like I had been reborn. "You finally did it, Ethan." Melissa was escorted out by court officers right behind me, looking stunned. She saw the light smile on my face, the look of a man who was falling in love. She froze as she watched me embrace Sarah. She stood there in endless despair because I was starting a new life, and she was not. Months later, on a rainy autumn night, I was taking Sarah home. I had asked her to be my girlfriend, and everything was perfect. I stopped the car in front of my building. As I was about to get out to walk her to the door, Melissa ran out and stood in front of the car. She was completely soaked by the rain. "What are you doing here?" I asked, my voice like ice. She saw me, but she focused even more on Sarah, who was in the passenger seat looking beautiful. Melissa didn't scream this time. She simply collapsed, kneeling in an icy puddle and bowing toward me incessantly. "Ethan, I messed up. I really messed up. Please forgive me. Please. I have nothing left. I'm working 3 jobs. My life is a nightmare every single day." Her voice was hoarse, muffled by the rain, sounding utterly pathetic. Sarah started to unbuckle her seatbelt to get out, but I reached out and held her hand, shaking my head. I opened my door, took the umbrella, and went to the passenger side. I held the umbrella over Sarah's head, protecting her from the rain. Then I turned toward the figure shivering in the mud. You know, when I was undercover and a bullet grazed my scalp, I wasn't afraid. When I saw someone get shot right in front of me, I wasn't afraid. But that day, when I opened my door and saw you and Arthur there, in that moment, I felt fear. Fear because you killed the Ethan that loved you. The light in her eyes went out instantly. So, save this "for me" act for some other sucker. I don't hate you, because you don't even deserve my hate. With that, I put my arm around Sarah and led her carefully into the building. Sarah looked at me with pure admiration. Behind us, the silence of the night was shattered by Melissa's soul-crushing scream, a sound lost to the wind and the rain. Later, I received a letter from the city's maximum security prison. The handwriting was crooked and full of bile. It was from Arthur. He had been sentenced to 20 years for the gravity of his financial crimes. The arrogance was gone, replaced by the fear of life behind bars. He cursed Melissa for pages, calling her empty and the root of all evil. At the end, he begged me to use my influence to help him inside. I smiled and, without a second thought, tore the letter in half. I asked a colleague to check on Melissa. She was at a remote car wash, doing the dirtiest, heaviest work. I didn't go personally. I asked Officer Lee to take his car there. Melissa, wearing a baggy waterproof suit, held a high-pressure hose mechanically, her hands red from the cold and her face splattered with mud. While paying, Lee accidentally let a letter slip from his pocket, landing at her feet. "Hey, I dropped my letter." Melissa leaned down and picked it up. When she saw the return address was from the prison and it was addressed to me, her hands began to shake. Lee pretended not to notice, took the letter back, but intentionally left it sticking out of his pocket. "Actually, you know what? This letter is trash anyway." He turned to walk away, letting the letter fall again on purpose. After Lee left, she opened it. She read Arthur's words of pure hate toward her. Every sentence was like a poisoned knife to her heart. She realized the affair she had paid everything for was nothing more than a joke to the man she chose over me. A year later, I was promoted to Vice Chief of the Criminal Investigation Division. My relationship with Sarah was natural and mature. She understands the dangers of my job and always provides the comfort I need. I decided to propose to her at the same cafe where we first met. The sunlight streamed through the window. Brilliant. I was a bit nervous, my palms a little sweaty. I took a velvet box from my pocket and opened it, revealing a dazzling, elegant diamond ring. Sarah looked at me, and her eyes immediately filled with tears. "Sarah, will you spend the rest of your life looking at the view by my side?" "Yes," she smiled. "I will." What do you think about how the officer handled it? Would you have done the same or something else? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an update.